Monday, January 21. The Heavenly Assembly in the Throne Room. The description of the elders in Revelation 4:4 shows that they are not angelic beings. The title elders in the Bible always is used for humans, in contrast to angels, who invariably stand in God's presence. These elders sit on thrones. The white robes they wear are the attire of God's faithful people, as we read in Revelation 3, verses 4 and 5. But you have a few people in Sardis who have kept their clothes clean. They will walk with me in white clothes because they deserve it. Everyone who wins the victory will wear white clothes. I will never erase their names from the book of life. I will acknowledge them in the presence of my Father and his angels. The victory crowns, from Greek Stephanos, in Revelation 4:4, around that throne were 24 other thrones, and on these thrones sat 24 leaders wearing white robes. They had gold crowns on their heads, are reserved exclusively for the victorious saints, as we read in James 1:12. Blessed are those who endure when they are tested. When they pass the test, they will receive the crown of life that God has promised to those who love him. All of these details suggest that the 24 elders are glorified saints. The number 24 is symbolic. It consists of two sets of 12. The number 12 in the Bible being a symbol of God's people. The 24 elders could represent God's people in their totality, from both the Old and New Testament times. The number 24 also mirrors the chiefs of the 24 divisions of priests who took turns serving in the earthly temple services, as recorded in 1 Chronicles 24, 1-19. Let's read that. The divisions of Aaron's descendants were as follows. Aaron's sons were Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. Nadab and Abihu died before their father died, and neither had any children. So Eleazar and Ithamar served as priests. David, Eleazar's descendant Zadok, and Ithamar's descendant Ahimelech, divided Aaron's descendants into groups for service. Since Eleazar's descendants had more men who were family heads than Ithamar's descendants, they were divided so that Eleazar's descendants had 16 family members or family leaders, and Ithamar's descendants had 8 family leaders. Both groups were divided impartially by drawing lots, so that there were officers for the whole place and officers for God among both Eleazar's and Ithamar's descendants. The scribe Shemaiah was a son of Nathanael and a descendant of Levi. Shemaiah recorded their names in the presence of the king, the princes, priest Zadok, Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, and the family leaders of the priests and Levites. One family was chosen for Eleazar, another for Ithamar. The first lot drawn was for Jehoiarib, the second for Jedaiah, the third for Harim, the fourth for Sorium, the fifth for Malchiah, the sixth for Mijamim, the seventh for Hakkoz, the eighth for Abijah, the ninth for Jeshua, the 10th for Shechaniah, the 11th for Eliashib, the 12th for Jachim, the 13th for Huppah, the 14th for Jeshibab, the 15th for Bilgah, the 16th for Immer, the 17th for Heziah, the 18th for Hapizez, the 19th for Pethahiah, the 20th for Jahaziel, the 21st for Jachin, the 22nd for Gamal, the 23rd for Deliah, the 24th for Maaziah. These were their priestly groups when they went to serve at the Lord's temple. Their ancestor Aaron made these rules for them, as the Lord God of Israel had commanded him. The fact that the 24 elders were never mentioned before in the Bible implies that they are a new group in the heavenly throne room. They perhaps are the ones who were raised from the dead at the time of Jesus' death, as we read in Matthew 27:51-53. Suddenly the curtain in the temple was split in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, and the rocks were split open. The tombs were opened, and the bodies of many holy people who had died came back to life. They came out of the tombs after he had come back to life, and they went into the holy city, where they appeared to many people. If so, these 24 elders, who ascended to heaven with Jesus, became representatives of humanity to witness the fairness in God's actions in the realization of the plan of salvation. In Revelation 5, verse 9, the 24 elders, along with the 4 living creatures, in verse 8, fall down in worship before the Lamb who was slain and yet lives. Together they sing a new song, extolling the Lamb as the one who is worthy, because, as it says in Revelation 5, 8-10, you were slain and have redeemed us to God by your blood out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and have made us kings and priests to our God, and we shall reign on the earth. Question. Revelation 4, verses 6-8, also mentions the 4 living creatures or beings. Compare their description with the 4 living beings in Ezekiel 1, verses 5-14, Ezekiel 10, 20-22, and with the seraphim in Isaiah 6, verses 2 and 3. Revelation 4, beginning at verse 6, in front of the throne there was something like a sea of glass as clear as crystal. In the centre near the throne and around the throne were 4 living creatures, covered with eyes in front and in back. The first living creature was like a lion, the second was like a young bull, the third had a face like a human, and the fourth was like a flying eagle. Each of the 4 living creatures had 6 wings and were covered with eyes inside and out. Without stopping day or night, they were singing, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was, who is, and who is coming. And Ezekiel 1, 5-14, in the centre of the cloud I saw what looked like 4 living creatures. They were shaped like humans, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight, their feet were like those of calves, and they glittered like polished bronze. They had human hands under their wings on each of their 4 sides. All 4 of them had faces and wings. Their wings touched each other. The creature went straight ahead, and they did not turn as they moved. Their faces looked like this. From the front, each creature had the face of a human. From the right, each one had the face of a lion. From the left, each one had the face of a bull. And from the back, each one had the face of an eagle. That is what their faces looked like. Their wings were spread out, pointing upward. Each creature had 2 wings with which they touched each other. The other 2 wings covered their bodies. Each of the creatures went straight ahead. They went wherever their spirit wanted to go, and they didn't turn as they moved. The living creatures looked like burning coals and torches. Fire moved back and forth between the living creatures. The fire was bright, and lightning came out of the fire. The living creatures ran back and forth like lightning. Ezekiel 10, beginning at verse 22. These are the living creatures that I saw under the God of Israel at the Chebar River. I realized that they were angels. Each had 4 faces and 4 wings, and under their wings were what looked like human hands. Their faces looked exactly like the faces that I saw by the Chebar River. Each one went straight ahead. And Isaiah 6, verses 2 and 3, angels were standing above him. Each had 6 wings. With 2 they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they flew. They called to each other and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of armies. The whole earth is filled with his glory. The 4 living creatures symbolize the exalted beings who serve God as his agents and the guardians of his throne, as we read in Psalm 99 and verse 1. The Lord rules as king. Let the people tremble. He is enthroned over the angels. Let the earth quake. Their wings point symbolically to their swiftness in carrying out God's orders, and their eyes point to their intelligence. Their presence together with the 24 elders and a myriad of angels around the throne, as we read in Revelation 5:11, shows that both heaven and earth are represented in the throne room. And to finish, we'll read Revelation 5:11. Then I heard the voices of many angels, the 4 living creatures, and the leaders surrounding the throne. They numbered 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands times thousands.